Good morning and good afternoon to those of you who have chosen to invest wisely in your time to learn a little bit more about Production Coach today. Hi, my name is Sean, owner of RSA Solutions, and I'm happy to be your host today and hope to help make this as good of experience as it can be. Thank you again. I know your time is super valuable, so I'll do my best to make the content valuable to you. Just a little bit about the agenda for today. We will want to do a quick review with you for some opportunities and information that is upcoming, great opportunities that I believe could bless you. Then we will review the foundation or the fundamentals of what is it that Production Coach does. And then finally, we will conclude the demo portion of the webcast with a live demonstration of the software. So we'll bring a work order into the system and push it through all of the processes. So hopefully it will all come together and make great sense for you before we're done. On your screen, we are displaying what is the web page, rsasolutions.com. You probably have already been here if you registered, but I just want to take you through a few things. First of all, point out to you that today there are 2 additional opportunities for webcasts. If you haven't signed up for them, you might want to know about them. The event that will start in about 2 hours from now will be relative to Planning Assistant. If you are hoping to be able to effectively schedule your factory, to be able to have proper workload and to be able to see the load put on various stations compared to your productivity goals, and to be able to view the status from literally any web application of what's happening and being updated with Production Coach, you might want to learn about the Planning Assistant. For those of you attending that are already Production Coach customers that have what was Google Calendar, you'll be grandfathered into this, so it may be helpful for you also to know about how you can take advantage of that amazing technology. And then finally at 3 p.m. Central Time, there will be a webcast on a technology that we recently rolled out to the market called Planety. For those of you who are managing materials that need to be able to deal with inventory and purchasing and would like something interconnected to these other systems and bidirectionally linked with QuickBooks Enterprise, it may be something worth your time. So just wanted to give you a little opportunity to know about those upcoming webcasts all happening today on Webcast Wednesday. I just want to take you for a quick moment to see a transformation that's happened. If you haven't been on the RSA Solutions website recently, we have really tried to be able to break down in meaningful ways the kinds of things that you might want help with in your business. So easily access of any of these will take you directly to the page. So you'll see that, for example, I clicked on Purchasing and Inventory, took me to Planety, huge number of screenshots, videos, everything that you might need to be able to understand if that would be helpful to you in your business. Before we get started today, I also want to cast over a little blessing to you. For those of you, many of our customers have W-2 employees. Many of our customers during the pandemic were involved in some way with either and or PPP or EIDL coming from the CARES Act of SBA. However, we have discovered, I discovered the hard way, but we have discovered that a vast number of our customers did not realize that there was actually a third leg to this CARES Act, and it's actually possibly better than PPP or EIDL. PPP, for those of you who have got funds for that, recognize that you got some amount of money. However, it was structured as a loan, restrictions on how you can use it until you prove how you did utilize those that the loan was forgiven. For EIDL, it was a loan, a nice amount of money, low interest, deferred kind of stuff, but it is something that you have to pay back. ERC is a different kind of program, and frankly, the reason we're publishing this is that most accountants have no idea either about it or to help their customers qualify. If you waste your time to go ask your CPA who already didn't tell you about it, there's a strong likelihood that they'll either tell you that you can't qualify, or if they did try to qualify you, for way small amounts. So this can get you up to $26,000 per W-2 employee. So we made it super simple. You can literally press one button and self-qualify yourself. So hopefully that will be helpful for you to be able to understand what is possible. I will tell you this much: the downside to it is it takes a while to get through the program. The IRS and Treasury and all that kind of stuff is not super fast. So from the time you do get to that point of self-qualification, it's about 4 months before you get the money. But for some of you with several W-2 employees, that could be a great blessing to your business. I'm going to start presentation. People can see. Is this working? Good. Okay, hopefully everybody's able to see my screen. I'm just checking for view. Please tell me. Boom. Okay, very good. You should be able to see my screen change. And this is a little PowerPoint. Just wanted to also let you know that in 2020, we are on an endeavor to have a vast number of factory tours, so more opportunities to be able to see these great technologies running live at customer facilities. So really, really excited about that. So today we're going to cover some things that I think will be useful and helpful to you. Challenges that customers are facing, how you can automate processes, how you can increase throughput without additional labor, how you can improve communications between the shop and office and even to the job site, how to automate things like grouping and sorting and assembly and shipping, and really amazing stuff. To be accurate 100% of the time, track orders in real time, and more. So it will be an exciting thing, I think, for us to get through. So there's been some challenges, as many of you know, whether those have been disruptions in supply chain, whether those have been getting employees to come to work, whether it's been COVID restrictions. There's been a number of those. And so I want to talk about, just for a moment, some of the things that we have, we believe that our customers are going through, and that we've got ways to be able to help you with those. One is obviously being too busy. I often say sometimes when we're busy, we are working in our business instead of on our business. But as entrepreneurs, we know that we also have to find ways to be able to allocate time to be working on our business, to be making improvements. And I'm often asked, what is your major competitor? And I literally repeat over and over, companies that think they're too busy, don't have time to implement new strategies or technologies, companies that are too slow or afraid of making the investment. There is never a good time, a perfect line the stars time for making investments in technology. But I can tell you this, Production Coach has an incredibly fast ROI, so every day that you're not implementing it in your facility is a day that you're not profiting from it. Employee challenges, for sure. This has been an interesting time with people wanting to stay out of the workforce and finding quality help and those kind of things. One of the great benefits of Production Coach is making it easy, making it simple for even new employees to be able to utilize the system and be productive very, very quickly. Without boring you with giant details, we were at a factory tour one time in Manhattan, Kansas, and the owner of the business brought in a temp help and had literally told them nothing and handed them a barcode scanner and said, here's a stack or here's a cart of parts. I want you to scan a barcode and do what it tells you. And that person was able to start being highly productive, doing something very beneficial to the business within moments of picking up a scanner. So there are some things that we can do to help you with those challenges. Plus, I will say this, let's think about who it is that we're hiring in the workforce. Today, new potential employees have grown up with data in their hands, with devices, with the ability to connect, with it being modern, Internet of Things driven. And so by being able to have a modern, highly high-tech factory, I believe makes you a better candidate for them wanting to be involved in your business. For customers, this has been, actually it was quite surprising to me when I first learned about how challenging it was to make sure that we were shipping 100% accurate every single time. But I do know it's important. I was at a conference in Quebec, and a friend of mine had a whiteboard and was making presentation to about 100 business people, and he literally drew on the board a dollar sign. And he said, friends, this is what it costs when you discover an error in estimation. Underneath that, he drew $2 signs and said, this is what it costs when you discover a problem in engineering. $3 signs for issues found or discovered during the process of manufacturing. He followed by making several dollar signs and saying, friends, this is what it costs when we have mistakes at the customer site, at the job site. So if we can eliminate all of those potential shipping errors right out of the gate, we're in a better position for profit. Obviously, inflation and supply chain has been a big issue. Gosh, the cost of materials have been all over the board, and even getting materials and knowing what we have, all of those kind of things are for sure challenges, and they can affect our budgets. And so, obviously, if we want to protect profits, we have to do all the things we can to be the most efficient to keep and discover all of the profit that we possibly can. And then finally, deadlines are beyond crazy. The demands that are put on us, being one of the very last to the job site, means that we don't have the information we need to plan ahead, and then we have to be able to react very, very quickly. And so being able to give you really good visibility and to move work through the factory much faster. Increasing throughput without increasing labor is certainly a wonderful goal, and something that Production Coach delivers. Also, communications. I very seldom ever have a deep dive conversation with a company that don't discover that they could improve their business by being able to communicate better. When people have the right information, when you've given them the right pace, the right expectations, they're able to perform in better ways. I remember being an engineer in my beginning of my career in woodworking, and I would have people coming in from the factory to ask me questions about something. By the time I pulled out of one project, answered their questions, and then got back into the other, not only was I distracted, they were distracted. There was a chance of more errors. And so being able to bring together as perfect of communication as possible with Production Coach is really an amazing thing. Obviously, mistakes are a big problem. Being able to identify how we are doing processes to eliminating mistakes by being able to provide great visualizations, very good data, and then to be able to track when those things happen. The automated processes of being able to make damage or missing part alerts and stuff and have those happen automatically both in the factory and at the job site are very, very amazing. So let's think about this for a moment. What is Production Coach? What is intelligent data management? So for many of you, you're already doing manufacturing, probably have automation, and maybe are utilizing labels for parts. And I would venture to say that a good portion of you are either using barcode, which is just a 3 of 9 font of alphanumeric characters to identify something, a unique ID. And irregardless of whether you're doing that yet, that is what the system is based on, is being able to scan a barcode. So we can help you with those things if you don't already have barcode. So here is an example, just one example of a part label. Customers do them in a lot of different ways. Some are placing them on the edge. Some people want larger labels with more information, but a part label can contain a lot of different information that can be helpful in the manufacturing process. In this example, we care primarily about having a scannable barcode. So here's some functions that you can do if you have part labeling and you're doing scanning with Production Coach. So what I want you to imagine for a moment is your factory and where you might want various computers on your factory so that if they scanned a barcode, they could do something. What would we want them to do? Well, you could scan a barcode and see information about the part, such as its size and material information. You could see all the way down to its machining details to know if it's being manufactured correctly. You could see a status change of the part. For example, maybe I want to know that it's been completed at the CNC or Edgebander or wherever it is to be able to know how the work order is being accumulated. Maybe I want to scan a barcode and to create a damaged part alert that can automatically pop up on whatever computer licenses that you have and be able to manage those things quickly and efficiently. Maybe I want to scan a barcode and see the product related information. Maybe I want to know about other parts in the assembly itself. Maybe I want to scan a part label and actually generate a product label so now we can slap a product label with barcode on the back of a cabinet. Maybe I want to include it in a kit. For example, some of our customers don't assemble adjustable shells. So maybe coming off of edge banding, they want to scan adjustable shells onto a pallet, wrap those up, and to be able to create a kit label that can also have its own unique ID. Maybe you want to scan a part label and sort it by cabinet automatically, or group it by things like material or work order, however you might want to make next operations more efficient in your factory. Here's a brief example of a product label. It can indeed include more information, but for the purpose of this, just the understanding that instead of only working at part level, we can work at product level. So now we could be scanning product labels as well. While we're here, let's take a quick look at a couple of examples of what we might think of as kits. And so a kit could be a few things, such as maybe after we assemble cabinets, we're going to put those on a pallet, scan them onto a pallet, wrap them up, and generate a kit label. So now I got one barcode for an entire pallet. Or again, the example of being able to do that with things such as adjustable shelves or whatever that you might want to organize as a kit. So think of that as grouping management. So here's some scanning functions that are related to products, the kits, the work orders. And so you could scan a product barcode and change the status of it. So maybe I want to know it's assembled, or maybe I want to know that it's staged. I could include it in a kit and, of course, generate a label. I could create a damaged product alert. I could stage it into a warehouse location. I could load it onto a truck. I could change the status of a kit, load it onto a truck, scan a work order, and let the system know that you have started on a particular operation at a work order level or have completed it. This image comes directly from our RSA Solutions website. If you go to our solutions and select on things like tracking, sorting, kitting, it will take you to the Production Coach page and you'll see our 3D factory. I want to take just a moment to help you understand a little bit about what the purpose of this is. So first of all, number one, this is meant to depict the fact that there are some activities that are going to go on in the office. We need at least one license of Production Coach. And what kind of things might we do? Well, we might want to import work orders from industry standard software such as CabinetVision, Mosaic, WoodCAD CAM, EMOS, Microvellum, Cutright, Excel, and more. And so we could have not only the work order containing all the parts, products, and stuff involved in it, you can supplement that information to add things that might not come across, such as maybe corables or range hoods or molding bundles or whatever you need to the system. You can also attach documentation so that any station, instead of having to have a bunch of paperwork, we could actually be a little bit more green and have on-demand documentation available. You might also, in the office, want to be able to create things such as packing lists. Maybe you want to manage what's coming back at you for damaged part alerts, or just a variety of type functions. Number two is meant to depict the function of tracking. So for many of our customers, at first operation, they want to know when a work order has started in production and when it's completed at that first operation. It doesn't have to be first operation. It could be any place in your factory that possibly you want to be able to track and know the status of what has gone through it and what has not gone through it by work order. So that's pretty cool. Item number 3 is actually to depict for you that you don't have to have production coach at every imaginable place in your factory. Only where you find value in making a scan do you really need stations or licenses, PCs, with scanners and printers, whatever kind of stuff for it, to be able to do it. So for some of our customers, they may choose not to have production coach licenses at locations like edge banding or horizontal bore and dowel insertion. So you get to pick where and how you want to use the licenses. Number 4 is to depict something that's really, really powerful within production coach and highly customizable, flexible for your operation. So imagine that we've released a work order. Seems typical that our customers tend to batch between 30 and 40 cabinets per job. Let's use a median of 35 and say there's an average of 10 parts per cabinet. That means that we have 350 parts that are moving through panel processing. They may be organized in some efficient ways for next operations, but really shouldn't be grouped by product because that would not be very efficient for other things. So here at station number 4, we call it sorting. You're able to scan a part barcode, and the system will organize all of the parts by product. In addition, not only will it organize them, it will tell you when you have all the parts, and it will tell you what's missing from any of the bins, so you never begin assembly without knowing that all the parts are available. As a matter of fact, number 4 often is used in multi-locations in the factory. Some of our customers sort case parts separately from fronts and drawers, or separately from base assemblies, and so we can synchronize all the sorting together. So magic happens at number 5, which is the 3D assembly station. So here, the assembler would be able to pull parts from a bin that is displaying that it has all the products to build. So you never start building something to find out it's missing. Good management to be able to have high visualization of things that are damaged or in progress back as well. So as an example, they pulled the parts from a bin, scanned one of those parts. Now they have a full live 3D of the model of what they're building. They see all of the individual parts, all the fronts and sub-assemblies, as well as the hardware that they need to do for it. And if you are sorting things like, for example, fronts and drawers separately, it will even display for you the synchronization to give you an instruction to let you know which cart and which bin that the fronts and drawers are in. So really powerful. And there we would also automatically change the status of the product to assembled or whatever you want to call it, and generate its product label so we can slap it on, and away we go. Item number 6 is meant to depict that often our customers do not get the luxury of going directly from assembly to the truck. And so often work orders are being staged in preparation for shipping. And for many of our customers, it's really valuable to do that, especially when we're not just shipping cabinets, but we might have things coming from custom areas, from mill, from finishing, whatever, that need to be organized also and be prepared for shipping. And then number 7 is also a big one. I think hopefully everybody would agree. If we could ship 100% accurate 100% of the time, we would surely make more profit and have less frustration at job site. For sure, our costs are exponential when there are things that we have to either expedite, remake, hunt for, whatever we want to call those things. And so at 7, we're enabling you to ship against a packing list, to only be able to scan things that are part of the packing list, and to never close the truck door without knowing 100% that you have a complete shipment. So very, very powerful to be able to do that. And number 8, finally, is displaying the job site. So things like delivery and installation can also be brought into this ecosphere where they could have access to be able to scan items off the truck as they're being installed by room, whatever, and also being able to generate damaged parts. For example, let's say that I'm delivering and I have a problem. I scan a product barcode and tell it that I have a damage. It's allowing me to select from a list of your reasons, such as fell off the truck. As an example, it would immediately then display and say, hey, is it all parts, or display each of those? And I would be able to select and say, nope, it's just the left door, and even take a picture if I want, and voila, that information is back at the job site without having to email anybody, without having to text, without having to make phone calls. It's just automatic and happens, so we can react to it in real time. So that concludes this portion, and I want to move into the software live. And so I'm going to pause for a second, get out of PowerPoint, and open up the software itself. 1 second, and now we will be back in play. So I'm now going to open up the software. This is the opening splash screen for Production Coach. And you might notice that because I'm doing this demonstration from a singular PC, I have set up on mine a number of stations that we'll be able to walk through as we're doing today's presentation. So I'll just begin in the office itself and help you understand a little bit about the user interface. For instance, it needs to be really simple, easy to understand what is going on, and something that can be used in the factory even without, significant training in any kind of a way. So right now we're in the office. What kind of things might we want to do in the office? Well, I can see on the left-hand side of this, I have a list of work orders. Whatever I select on is displaying in the top section the assemblies, the things that we're going to build, and in the bottom section, the things that are loose that we might want to be able to kit, but might also still be included in the packing list. And so that's kind of an initial. What I think I'm going to do is just go ahead and import a work order to show you how easy and fast it is. And so I'm going to bring in a work order. I selected PM004, so now we'll see we have a new work order. If we looked at it from a status standpoint, we'll see that the system was smart enough to recognize that we had a total of 380 steps that we need to complete for this. How many of them were parts and products, and how many of them were loose items, and the routings for how they make it through the factory are all done for us. So that's really amazing. Again, all of the things in the upper section are the assemblies. The things in the lower section are the loose items that we might want to kit. For the purpose of this presentation, I'm going to make a status change to some of these items, and that's for the purpose of allowing you to see how that status update would look in the system. So you'll see here that we have completed 154 of 163. So we know that it was started, and we can see it by complete, and it tells us the amount of work that we have complete or steps within our factory. If I go ahead and allow it to change this last one, so now I have everything completed. So if we go look at this, we'll now know that we have a completion status for this particular operation. So I'll use barcode throughout the rest of it, but I just wanted you to see how that worked in the system. While I'm here, I might want to be able to attach documentation. So any documents that you want to have available for on demand. It's also possible to utilize the chat function. So here chat can be, of course, between users, between stations, and be able to really improve communications in the factory. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a packing list for this work order. And so I'm going to hit the plus sign. So now I see all of the available work orders that I could be creating a packing list for. And you might think, well, let's just click the box for PM004, but I want you to see that we actually have a powerful release manager. And so I would be able to select or unselect items. I could also add items from other work orders. And so it's very possible for you to control and to generate packing lists the way that you want them to be. So now I have a packing list that has all of the items from PM004 and some items from another work order as well. So that'd be kind of nice, something that we'll use as we move through the presentation. So here I have PM004. I'm going to open up another instance of Production Coach, and I'm going to open up this time the sorting station. And so let's assume at this point that we've got some parts that are moving through panel processing. And so now we need to start organizing them by product. And so what I'm displaying on screen happens to be configured for the way that I chose, and I chose to utilize mobile carts, and I wanted there to be 2 rows with a total of 12 cabinets to be able to push a cart around. So you might recognize that in order, like we talked about before, that had 35 cabinets on it, that might require 3 mobile carts, or maybe you want to do it with fixed racks. We can help you for sure with the configuration of that. So how does it work? Easy enough. I'm going to scan a part barcode. When I do this, it's now telling me which racks that I need. In this case, the job was smaller, so it's all going to fit on this. And now it's telling me to place that part in bin number 7, and it's calculated already where all of the products are going to be organized. I'm going to scan another into bin 5, into bin 10, so as fast as I can scan parts, I'm able to sort them by product and have easy display to know what is complete, what do I have ready to build. And so we'll see here in bin number 7 that we have all of our parts. What we hope for is that when we're done scanning of parts, that those 350 parts, that all of the bins are green. But obviously we don't want to scan parts all day long, so I only did enough to complete 1 bin. However, if we wanted to see in any instance what was inside or what was missing from any bin, it's as simple as clicking a button. So now I can see what has been scanned inside of it and what is missing from it. Let's take a few examples. Let's say that I can tell that I have a side panel. I can tell by looking at it, it's a left side. I don't know if it goes to this or not, and so I could click on it and see, oh, now I can verify by dimension. I can verify by product. Oh, I can see it's a 3-drawer base, and it's this material. Yes, I can see by the drilling patterns that this is it, so I could literally sort it without having to regenerate a part barcode. Maybe in my process of this, I'm doing a little QC, and I notice that I have a damaged part. I could now have a list of reasons that are all your reasons, and I'm going to blame this one on edge banding. And so now the system knows, and here pops up an error, or not an error, but an alert that says, hey, for the work order, PM004, it was damaged, and the reason was by edge banding at a date and time stamp. It was the sorting station that reported it, and if I wanted, I could even go see more details about it, including its barcode. So I can react to those things very quickly and to be able to make changes to them. I'm going to cancel fixing this for just a moment and let you see this. So what you'll see is that this turned orange in the process. And if we look at our legend down below, you get to design your own, but we have made a damaged part in orange, green being that it has everything, and then a part in progress is letting us know when we have things that have been completed. So now I'm going to tell this that this damaged alert has been corrected. And so now what we will see is if we switch the screen back, we will see by updating this that now this bin has turned yellow, meaning that the part is back in progress, and we can track it all the way through the system. So if you would, please remember that we had 1 completed product in bin number 7. I'm going to open up a new instance of Production Coach, and we'll go to Assembly. And so here in Assembly, what might we do? Well, we want to pull the parts out of the bin and scan any one of them. And when we do that, it's going to transform the station of assembly and is going to display the product and is going to highlight the part that we scanned. So notice that it's in red in the assembly. I have full control over it. I can see it below, behind, whatever. If I want, I can actually even take things and hide them. So maybe I want to, for example, hide the fronts to be able to see inside of it. I have the ability to do those things easily. I see all of the products, all the fronts, and the exact hardware that I need. And notice that its status has been changed to assembled. And if we had it connected to a printer, it would have automatically kicked out a barcode for us. So that is the assembly station itself, really powerful for the things that you can do with it as well. And so now we have a unique ID. While we're here at PM004, let's go look at our progress. So we obviously didn't do everything, but we have completed some amount of sorting and we have completed some amount of assembly. So we still have some staging and shipping to go. And for today's session, since we're limited in time, I'm going to go directly to this shipping station. And here, I am going to tell it that I want to utilize this and determine where I might want to first stage this work order so I can see the ones that are being consumed. I just used alphanumeric numbers and made 24 unique staging areas. You may have more, you may have less, but I could literally say, hey, you know what? I could scan it into a location, I can select it, I can do whatever it is that I want so that then we know exactly what has gone into that location. So everything can be organized there. I'm next going to pop open the packing list. So here we have the packing list, and I'm going to scan products onto the truck. So now what you'll see is that it created a positive affirmation flashing big and green, because you might imagine somebody loading onto a truck might want a big screen way up above them and to be able to easily hear and see that it was a proper scan. Now, I can show all of the items, I can show the products, I can filter them however we might want to do it, but notice that we have a date and time stamp for that. I'm going to scan another one of these, bringing it in perfect align with where we are. There is another, and there is another, and there is another. So we have the ability to be scanning these items directly on to the truck. And what I want you to see is if I tried to scan something that's not part of the work order, it's now going to tell me that that is not a proper scan, that that is not part of this work order. So it makes it really nice for us to be able to know exactly what we've done and what we haven't. Was at a factory tour in Hiram, Utah, and the guy said, we used to get calls from the job site all the time, something they think is missing, and we're looking for it, and we think we shipped it, we think we checked off stuff, we end up making stuff and expediting, and magically we put in production coach, and the phone stops ringing. So this can be included also in your shipping documentation as well. And of course, you have the ability for reporting of the data, and the report can be automatically emailed, for example, to accounts receivable, whatever it is that you might want to do. So we see exactly what has happened, the date and time scans, all those things. I didn't do everything today, but hopefully you get the vision that the object is to be able to make sure that the truck door doesn't close until we have all of these things done. And I'm going to change my screen here. Can I do this? Here. Okay, I'm going to log in, and what I'm going to go to just for a moment is also at the job site. And what I wanted you to see, I'm not going to be able to do a full presentation of how that would work, but what I wanted you to see is that there is a web application for this that can extend the functionalities of what it is that we are doing within Production Coach can then be extended out to the job site it very self. So hopefully that helps a little bit with what we have going on. And I see that we have a few questions. So perfect timing, thank you. Okay, so I see that it says, what size is that label? So first of all, You get to decide what size labels that you want to be able to have. We can configure if we're printing the labels. For example, that would often be the product labels and kit labels. Pretty common for customers to do a 4x4 when it comes to a product label, because you might want to have, job information, you might want to have room information, that kind of stuff on it. The printers, the typical Zebra printers, usually print up to a 4x4, but you might find that you want to have yours a little bit smaller. Here's the way I think about it, Nathan. By the way, great question. Sketch out the information that you want on a label and determine what size that you need it to be for the font's readability, and to make sure that you have barcode for it, and then easy to match that up with an Avery kind of label. Hey, by the way, I try to do the best I can to disseminate what are the questions, what do they mean, and try to give a verbal answer. However, in the case that I don't understand whatever it is, rest assured we're here after the webcast and we can help you in person for those kind of things as well. Yeah, for sure, Sam. Thank you very much. The question was, after the meeting, can I talk to any person a little bit more in detail about the program to purchase? What I haven't done, because I really try to make these non-salesy, more of a educational purpose, but I will tell you that we have what is called a new customer bundle, and it's the perfect recipe for getting started with Production Coach, knowing that it is a very modular system and something that can be additional modules added later, additional licenses added later. And so here's what a Production Coach new customer bundle includes. It includes 5 licenses. One of those is used in the office. We recommend, in general, for the other 4 that you would have one at shipping. So now we've used 2 of the 5. You want one at assembly for generating the product labels. So now that's 3. You want one at the sorting function for doing all this organization, which is 4. And that leaves you 1 more license that is either commonly used at first operation to know that the work order started, or maybe off in a custom area if you're building, die walls, range hoods, those kind of things, where you might want to update the status and to be able to do that. And so we have a really, really nice package for the new customer bundle, and that's a great way to get started for sure. Yeah, I'm sorry, Nathan. We can chat after the session. I didn't really understand. I don't know what size the label was that I displayed it. It was just a graphic that I used in a PowerPoint presentation. To me, it was, I think, smaller than the 4x4 if you're talking about the product label, but it also probably didn't contain all the information that a customer would need. We can definitely get down to those things. So it says, does Production Coach link seamlessly with Cabinet Vision data? What is the import time for an average size kitchen? And so the answer is yes. We actually have a very, very deep integration to Cabinet Vision, but we also have that same depth of integration to other softwares popular, such as Mosaic, to Microvellum, to WoodCAD CAM, to EMOS, and then we have some other imports that are not quite as deep, that don't give you the full machining or see the 3D assemblies, but definitely it's helpful. And so then the question becomes, what's the import time for an average size kitchen? Average size is a relative term. What I can tell you is I just imported in this presentation one that had 10 cabinets on it and had some loose items. So let's say that that is 1/3 of a average size, maybe. I don't know what an average size is for you. I've got customers that, build out, $20,000 kitchens, and I got others that build out, $500,000 kitchens, and so they're obviously very different. But it's a matter of moments for the data to be able to be imported. So I think in my example, I did with 10 cabinets, it took somewhere around 3 seconds, and so if you want to multiply that by 4 or 5 or whatever you want to do, it's less than a half a minute. And so it's really amazing and fast how we're interacting with the database. As a matter of fact, while we're talking, Laverne, about Cabinet Vision, we actually help you with a UCS for Cabinet Vision that helps us get better and more detailed data out of the system. So it's a really, really nice integration for sure. So, sorry, price question. So I think it's better that we talk about your individual thing, but the new customer bundle that we referred to has a price of $25,680. I might mention that we also have some incredible financing opportunities available, and that's how a lot of our customers deal with this. And even if you need, even though that does not include the actual hardware, so we don't sell the computers, the printers, the scanners, but we do give you specifications so that you can easily order them, and it does not include the technician travel expenses. Other than that, it includes all your software, it includes your first year annual support and all upgrades, and it also includes the services to make all of this work really amazing. In most cases, that is some of the services happening remotely, and then some of them happening at your facility where we're doing final integration and training of your people. So return on investment is an interesting thing. I can tell you this much. When I survey customers, they would tell you that their return on investment came very fast, in less than 6 months with the system in place. I'll give you an example, and you can put the numbers to it. Have a customer that attested at a factory tour that prior to Production Coach, they were throughputing about 40 cabinets a day. And he said to the other business people, owners, whatever, that were visiting his facility, listen, you got to understand this. Before Production Coach, we were throughputing 40 cabinets a day. After Production Coach, we did not add a person, we did not add a square foot, and we did not add any equipment, and we can now throughput 100 cabinets a day. So if we believe in, for example, if you've read the goal, and we believe that we have already covered our overhead, our labor, and what we're doing, but we're getting additional throughput, instead of that being a small margin, now it's the materials plus the profit, not the labor. And so it's very significant to the bottom line when we can increase throughput without additional labor or investment. One more example, at a factory tour, a owner of a business said that someone asked him, hey, is this a good investment? Would you do it again? That kind of stuff. And he said, well, let me put it to you this way. We increased our business by 25% this year, and we did it with 10 less people on the shop floor. So hopefully those are very good things to help you. Again, this isn't meant to be a sales presentation, but to help you hopefully in your educational process of determining if Production Coach might be right for you. I would encourage you, if you liked this presentation, if you saw some good value from it, even if just biting off Production Coach might be enough for now, what you really, how do I say this, ought to consider is understanding where it can go from here. And so again, we have 2 webcasts that are coming up in today's sessions. The very next one in just over 1 hour will be on the Planning Assistant to help you be able to manage the back scheduling and load of your factory, and some really other amazing tools. And then at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time will be Planity as well, to be able to help us automate the processes of being able to do purchasing and manage inventory all bidirectionally and integrated with QuickBooks Enterprise. So with that said, I sure appreciate each and every one of you that took your time here near your end to learn something hopefully new, to be able to work on your business instead of just in your business. And if we can help in any way, let us know. You can reach me directly from our website if you have anything that you need. So anyway, I want to thank you again. Take care, and God bless.